Hey everyone, this is TaNisha Webb, and this is the Book Club University book review vlog. And I am so happy that I'm going to start bringing you just book reviews on certain books that's either a Casey Girlfriend's Book Club, Book of the Month selection, or just a book that, I have hanging around that I want to review. So you're gonna get the skinny on really what I think about some books that come across my desk or are selection choices or have been submitted for a book review. So this month I'm going to actually review the March Book of the Month selection by the Casey Girlfriends Book Club, which was actually chosen by one of my book club members, so it wasn't chosen by me. And that book is called God Says No by Hannaham. Okay, so got a good look at that cover. All right, so if you look at the bottom of your screen or all over your screen, it's going to kind of describe to you what the Casey Girlfriends Book Club book review standards are. And so this is something that I developed over about 3 years ago, and that I use on any type of book review that I actually put out for the past 3 years. And so it's on a 5-star scale. And the different things that we're going to cover, you can kind of see on the screen there, and how the template scores out and accumulate the score, the 5-star score standard. All right. So we're going to talk about the book presentation, which is the first thing when you're an avid reader and you're going out and purchasing a book. The first thing that we are gravitated to is really your book title. And so I have to say that the book title, God Says No, really wasn't, for me, a title that would have caught my attention. Perhaps if I was looking specifically for something more religious based, but this is actually a contemporary fiction book, so it really probably would have thrown me off. I probably wouldn't have necessarily picked up the book. Now, if you look at the book cover itself, which let me kind of pan out so you can really get the full effect of this book cover. Now, okay, so you see the book cover, and basically you have a guy that's on a crucifix, and you see Tinkerbell that's hanging off the top of the crucifix, and then you see a guy that looks like he came from Disney World, right? With the Mickey Mouse hat on and the gloves, and then you have Jesus at the bottom of the cross, and you have a pastor and some questionable characters on the front of the cover. All right, so that's what you see. Now, as far as the synopsis is concerned, I'm just gonna go ahead and just read it to you, and just kind of, you can make up your own decision, and I'll tell you what my decision was. Okay, so the synopsis that is offered is a truly daring first novel. Now, Gary Gray marries his first girlfriend, a fellow student from Central Florida Christian College who loves Disney World as much as he does. They are 19, God-fearing, and eager to start a family, but a week before their wedding, Gary goes into a rest stop bathroom and lets something happen. God Says No is his testimony, the story of a young black Christian struggling with desires and belief, with his love for his wife and his appetite for other men, told in a singular emotional voice. Driven by desperation and religious visions, the path that Gary Gray takes from revival meetings to outlife in Atlanta, to pray away the gay ministry in Memphis, Tennessee, gives a riveting story of how a life from his can be lived and how it can't. Okay, so that's your synopsis of God Says No. That's offered. All right. So based off the book presentation that was offered for God Says No, I actually didn't give it any points at all. Um, I really just felt that the title just didn't grab me. The cover was confusing. I couldn't understand why there were Disney characters hanging off the crucifix, and it was just throwing me in while Jesus was at the bottom of the crucifix. That was just a bit much for me. And then also the synopsis just didn't quite grab me. Couldn't understand why he was mentioning Disney World, and I don't think that's a reason for two people to get married. Just my thought. Um, as far as the book price was priced just fine. I gave a full point for that. As far as the character development is concerned, I felt that the author uh, basically he wrote the book what I would say in first person, and so it's written where the main character, basically Gary Gray, is giving his perspective of why he's living on the down low, and and his conflict between his religious beliefs and also being married to a woman. And so I really didn't feel any connection with any of the characters, because the only character that's really telling his views and things like that is the main character. I really felt that this book, as far as the character development was concerned, if he had actually offered different perspectives from Gary's wife, perhaps his mom, the guy that he was actually on the down low with in Atlanta, even his next door neighbor, on how Gary living on the down low and things like that, how that affected their lives, because it's not, it is about that person being on the down low, but also how you affect other people's lives by living a lie. And so I felt like if the author would have took his time and actually, told the perspective of other characters in the book, that perhaps this would have actually made the book more interesting and made you want to engage into these characters and learn more about them, and at least have love or hate feeling about them. But it just kind of left you like, okay. So let's move on. Anyways, so I really couldn't give him any points for the character development. I just felt like the characters were not engaging. They were underdeveloped to me. And they just weren't easy to relate to. It felt like he was giving a book report in this book, and just giving you the facts, instead of really engaging you and making you want to read more about these characters and making the book a page turner. So the storyline itself, I felt like the storyline was just an average story about a guy that was on the down low and trying to find himself and find his way out of this situation. I think at this point that most readers are really over the whole down low book storyline. And so at this point in time, you really have to kind of bring a whole new perspective to the story, so it doesn't seem so repetitive like we've read it before. And I just didn't feel like the author really gave us good descriptions and everything. He tried, but I think he described things that really didn't matter. Anytime that you spend about 3 paragraphs on describing yourself going to the store to pick up a box of Cheerios and describing the box of Cheerios and things like that, those things we don't care. Everybody knows what a box of Cheerios look like. So, it's more about you setting up the scene and making those scenes just pop out at you, where you remember just certain things that people said, the mannerism that they had, things that are going to make you want to turn that next page. And you really just didn't get that in God Says No. So I really felt like the storyline, it was very forgettable for me. And I did not feel like I received a full story. You got a beginning, you got an ending, but you had no climax. You had nothing in the middle. It felt like by the time that you got to the end of the story that you've read the same scene over and over and over in just different chapters. So it really just wasn't something engaging, and I probably would not recommend this book to anybody that that I know that loves to read. So I didn't give him any points for storyline. As far as the book editing is concerned, actually the book was well edited. I didn't see any mistakes in the book at all. So I gave him the full point for that. Now, as far as my overall thoughts about this book, I really think that James Hannaham possibly has a voice as an author. I just think that he needs to focus more on developing his characters to make them more engaging and more three-dimensional, where you're actually able to see their mannerisms. You're able to really engage into that author, where he's not necessarily telling you the words, but he's making you really see these characters in your mind, and where they're just popping out at you on the pages. He really needs to develop his supporting characters as well, because the story kind of gets boring when you're just basically dealing with one character. So I felt like the dialogue between the characters weren't fully developed, or they were saying things that really didn't help to propel the storyline as well. Also, just with the details with the story, I felt like it should have been a little bit better, telling us details that really matters, and makes that story just just so interesting that you just had to read more. And so I really felt like you have to really make that storyline just stand out to the reader. So just to remind us that, hey, this is a great book, and make us want to actually go ahead and pass along to others, or just suggest it along to other book clubs and readers. So based on the Casey Girlfriends Book Club review standards, I gave God Says No by James Hannaham 2 out of 5 stars. So that's what my thoughts were, my avid reader perspective of God Says No by James Hannaham. Join me next time. I have no idea what I'm going to review next, but I'm going to bring it back to you and tell you what I think. So until then, happy reading to you, and I will catch you on Facebook or Twitter, whichever one. My information is right on this YouTube station. So keep up with what we're doing at Book Club University. I appreciate everybody's support. Thank you.